Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Mad About Mini paper pads. I am using my November Counterfeit Kit Challenge Blog Kit. This is a kit that I create out of my own stash each month using items that are already in my stash. And then we do challenges on the blog and in the Facebook community group to help us use our curated kits. My kit has a lot of simple stories in it. It has at least 2 different collections. I've got the newest collection, Simple Vintage Autumn Breeze. And then I think the rest of it might be from Simple Stories Autumn Splendor, which is where my mini paper pad came from. That's just the cover sheet. I have leaves from All In Create, Autumn Splendor, and Autumn Breeze bits and pieces. There's also some hip kit in here for the I'm trying to use up this sweater weather chipboard title set. This is the envelope where I'm putting my Autumn Splendor product in as I open it. More hip kit, and there's some Elle Studio as well. And then I added in some wood grain sticker letters because part of my title is going to be happy. Well, if you can see these photos, the look on my sister's face, she's not happy with what she's eating. Not even a little bit. Then here are my 6x8 papers for my mini paper pad. Lots of beautiful pieces to play with. Not particularly sure which I'm cutting into just yet. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to get started and I will be right back. Alright, so I have this stencil here. This is a Hip Kit Club stencil. I used it the other day and I'm going to use it again, and I haven't cleaned it yet. This is unlike me. If you know me, I clean them every single time I use them. I'm using similar inks. The inks I used on this with it this time are Distress inks, but last time I used Pink Fresh Studio inks, but they're of similar color, so it won't be a big deal if I go ahead and use the stencil dirty. So I have my title down there, and I've placed it there because that's where my title is going to end up on the finished layout, and I'm making sure that I'm not going to be covering up a whole lot of my stenciling, so I went ahead and just used the title as a holding place so that I would know where it was going to be versus where the stenciling is going to be. My photos are going to go to the right of that stenciling, so that makes that fairly easy. Right now I'm going to kind of wipe up my glass mat a little bit so that it doesn't, ink doesn't get from my fingers onto the rest of the white paper. I'm cutting apart my photos. Again, these are photos of my little sister trying sweet potatoes again as an adult. We all grew up not liking sweet potatoes, and in about 2017 I started eating them a lot more often, so I have decided that I like them. I just don't necessarily like them the way they're typically prepared for Thanksgiving. And for this Thanksgiving meal, I had made a pecan topping for them. So this title is very stark white. This is from one of Vicki Boutin's collections. I believe it was the one that was released as a mixed media collection. I have a little pack of titles, and I'm pretty sure that's the collection they came from. I'm using my ground espresso distress ink to color it in. It's not going to be fully saturated. It's just going to be kind of a hint of the brown, which is perfect. And oops, I just kind of tore it right there, but it's okay. It works out anyway. But I'm kind of going over it a second time, making sure that I fill in all of the white spots left behind during the first time putting the ink on. Kind of a fun little thing to do with your titles. You can do these with white cut files. You can do this with white titles that you've cut or received in kits. And it just is a nice, easy way to color them. So now that I've got that part done, I'm going to go ahead and start building this layout. So off camera, I used some dies to cut out some leaves. These are Hip Kit dies. I had not used them before, so they're brand new. So I've opened up a brand new set of dies. And now I am creating photo mats for my 4 photos using the plaid here. Right now I'm cutting them into 3 1/4 strips, but it'll eventually be a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mat for each photo. And I'll have a little bit of leftover from each of these. And again, I will probably keep these scraps for just a little while, just to see if I need them to punch or die cut something else later on. It's an easy way to keep up with your scraps. I kind of keep them with the collection until the collection's virtually all gone. So looks like I should have put that stenciling over just a tad more to the left. I didn't, and I'm going to cover up part of it, but you're going to still be able to see it for the most part, so it's going to be okay. I am getting these photos matted and almost glued on the back of the photo mat, which isn't a big deal because I'm eventually going to glue it down, but let's get the photo on there first. So now I've got placement of the title, and I've got those leaves cut out. Now my title is going to be unhappy rather than happy, and I'm going to put the U in the N just kind of above the title. These are American Craft thickers. They're puffy letters, and they're kind of a wood grain look. I'm going to use buttons from this Hip Kit sticker sheet. These are chipboard. I'm going to use these as kind of a base for my cluster. I added in that tab with a little heart cut out of it at the top right photo, and I have a little piece of chipboard that says Family Mealtime from this collection. I'm also going to bring in that sticker that says this story. It's going to end up on my journaling block, which will be a hidden journaling block, mostly because I didn't leave room for it. I'm going to play with tucking these leaves in here. This is a really pretty leaf die set. I really like it, and it cuts very well with pattern paper because it just kind of gives that hint of color, because there's a lot of beautiful openings on each of them. There are 5 different leaves in the die set, and like I said, it's the first time I've used it, and I've really, really enjoyed playing with these leaves. I cut more than I needed, so I'm going to put them back in with my kit, and then I'll use them probably on another page, and may even cut more out eventually, but it's nice to have pre-cut leaves when you're scrapping and you need an extra little bit of an embellishment. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. And I have this piece of paper from the 6x8 paper pad, and I really love that printed cluster, so I'm going to fussy cut out that printed cluster, and it's going to end up on the upper left corner of this layout. And of course, in the pictures, it just kind of looks like I created a bunch of layers, but it's nice to cheat once in a while and use a fussy cut element in its place. The rest of that piece of 6x8 paper pad, I will cut down, and I will use that to make a journaling block to tell the story of these photos. But I really like how that turned out. Like I said, it almost looks like I fussy cut and layered up a whole bunch of embellishments when in essence I really didn't. So I think I'm grabbing my little trimmer here, and I'm going to cut down a little bit of this piece of paper so that I have a small journaling block, and I'm going to attach this story along the side, and that's what you're going to be using to pull it in and out. Pretty pleased with how that looks, so let's move along and see what I'm going to come up with next. So I got everything glued down off camera, and I decided to go ahead and bring in that stencil again and my inks again, because there was a lot of white space underneath the title, and I thought, well, I covered up a lot of my stenciling with embellishments and photos, so let's add just a little bit more of the stenciling kind of behind the H on this title. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just using the same colors of inks, and, you know, giving that white spot a little bit more inky love. And no worries, I did clean that stencil up after this. It is currently clean and back in its little envelope in my stencil collection. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my title down. I also pulled in those gold stickers. Those are very, very thin gold foil stickers. They're actually really, really pretty. And I'm going to just layer up a couple of those with the rest of the leaves. So just to add a little bit of gold to it and, you know, kind of use up some more of the sticker sheet. I had a really hard time with that sticker sheet, and it's been in my stash for quite a while because I believe that this is a 2023 fall kit from Hip Kit that those came from. So there's a gold leaf and a gold heart that I'm going to stick up there in that upper right corner. I have that open heart, which is going to go on the lower right cluster. And then another gold leaf I'm going to put up in that top left cluster, and that about covers all of that. I had pulled up quite a bit of embellishments from my counterfeit kit, and this was an Elle Studio punch out piece, and so I pulled that phrase out, and I'm going to add another button or two kind of around my title. And there's some, like, I think they're the insides from something, but there's like some little dots there that I kind of use as a enamel dot, but it's wood grain. And so I think that's about it. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. All right, I got this layout completely finished. Everything is glued down. Ironically, the only foam adhesive I used was underneath this here and now that I put on this cluster. I did journal on that little card that I made from the 6x8 piece of paper, and left this part of both photos unglued so that it would slide in and out. You might be wondering how somebody will read that without taking it out of the page protector. What I like to do is slice the page protector, and then I'll just pop this through. And that way you don't have to pull the layout out of the page protector to read that journaling. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. If you are new here, I would love to have you as a subscriber. I want to remind you to check out the hop list that is linked below my video so that you can see what everybody else is doing with Mad About Mini Paper Pads. It's a fun group. I know last month I kind of cheated it a little bit. This month I really played with mini paper pads and had a blast doing so. Again, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.